Layla El Khadri, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's a real pleasure to be joining you today. You're joining us from Dubai. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah in the US. And today we're going to be talking about embracing feminine leadership in business. And this episode has been a long time coming. We scheduled this a long time ago and have been in preparation. And we have huge time difference between us in different parts of the world, but we really wanted to make sure we got this scheduled and we are sitting down and having a chance to have a really great conversation with each other. So thank you so much for making this happen. And I'm just thrilled to have an opportunity to discuss all of this with you today. As we get started, I wanted to share Lila's bio with everybody. Lila knows how to get you to access your awe-inspiring magnetism. She has over a decade of experience guiding women to express their absolute highest potential and embody their magic. Layla is the founder of Creatrix, a business that guides women to tap into their feminine power, find their unique gifts, and turn them into mission-driven business to create a positive impact in the world. With over 10 years of experience as a mentor, a degree in filmmaking, and a master's in somatic therapy, Layla's passion for personal transformation has taken her all over the world studying, mastering, and distilling the most potent tools and techniques for self-empowerment. The art Layla has created has touched millions of women across the globe, inspiring them to grow, to connect in sisterhood, and to grow their lives and businesses. It's just really a pleasure to be with you, Layla. Anything that you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on in?
Oh, it's so beautiful to hear these introductions and have the feeling that I have become the role model I didn't have as a young woman.
Mm,
That is really fulfills my heart. Because when I was a young child, and I had so much ambition and so big dreams for the world, and I couldn't really, I looked around and I couldn't really find women that were doing it the way I thought was possible. And
mhm.
to be a few decades later here, being that for other women and seeing so many women around me, really moving the needle and building a better world is really inspiring. So thank you for reading that description to me. It really touched my heart.
I love learning about the backgrounds of all of the wonderful guests that I have on this podcast. It's one of the greatest things about doing this. This really was a pandemic type of initiative that I started because I was missing so much of the connection, as many of us were during the pandemic, and I had been, as many people, I had consumed podcasts for years. I've even been guests on podcasts before that time, and I'm like, I'll just go ahead and start something on my own, and it just kind of grew organically over time, and now it's like one of the greatest blessings of my life that I get to sit down with folks like you. So many times I'm just in awe, and I'm just amazed by like the great wisdom and amazing people that I get to sit down with and have these great conversations with. So thank you. It's amazing, and I'm just thrilled to have this opportunity. Well, as we get started, I would love to know a little bit more about that background that you just alluded to, that you started to talk about, because mentorship is such an important thing. Obviously, I'm not a woman. I'm a straight cisgender white dude, able-bodied, neurotypical. Like I kind of have all of the layers of privilege. I don't know what it's like to grow up, with not having, some of those types of privileges. And frankly, I grew up in a highly educated home. We didn't have a lot of means, so socioeconomically we weren't privileged, but I had all the other layers of privilege, and I had plenty of mentors, and so I don't really know what it was like to not have that growing up. Describe for us, what it was like, generally speaking, but also as a woman in that environment, and why the work that you do was such, a passion project for you.
Yeah. Well, so the lack of um, role models that I am making reference to is actually cross-cultural and
Hmm.
uh, all socio-economical realities. We women of my generation and a few generations, all generations before, and still, I think the next generation after me as well, we didn't grow up with healthy models of feminine leadership. We grew up with models of leadership that were highly masculine.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and in order to be successful in the world as a leader, as a female, you had to suppress a lot of your reality in order to compete on a game that was designed for males
Yeah.
with a level of operations and a level of communication and a level of relating and a level of intensity that is just not conducive for the female reality. And I went into that right fresh out of college. I was very ambitious. I am still very ambitious, but I went into doing my best to be a dude, if we can be frank
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It killed my soul, it killed my magnetism, it killed my beauty, it killed my feminine energy. And the problem with that is we are all designed to be successful at being ourselves. And this is for men and women. You were given a set of qualities that makes you unique and makes you very powerful, very inspiring, and very good for the world whenever you are in alignment with who you are. But when we are trying to be someone we are not, then we are setting ourselves up for failure. And women trying to succeed in a masculine leadership style, it's not making it's doing a disfavor to everybody. So for me, when I say that I have become the role model that I wish I had, I mean a woman that is in business, that is successful, that is having high impact in the world, that is doing it the feminine way, that is bringing her feminine energy, that is bringing her cyclical nature, that is understanding her biology and is working with her biology and not against it, that is leveraging her the immense power that we have as women because I have taken the time and the studies and the trial and error to understand how to be a leader as a woman.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So let's dig into that. Again, as a dude, I don't really know what that means. I'm married. I have a wonderful, amazing wife. I have children. I have six children. I have four daughters. They're amazing. And so clearly, I see differences across my four daughters, my two sons, between me and my wife. I definitely see that. Um, I also, though, so I see gendered differences. I see some that are socially constructed. I see others that seem to be more innate. There's some, as I'm raising my kids, there's some that I'm just like, I'm every bit as maternal, in some ways as my wife, like in caring for my children, in a lot of those maternal instincts that, people attribute to the moms, I'm like, I am every bit as, as desirous to be involved with my kids and in raising them as my wife is, and I'm as involved as she is, and that kind of stuff. And so there's this distinction, I think, between kind of gendered norms, social norms, kind of all of the gendered stereotypes versus really, I think what you're talking about, which is different. So let's dissect that a little bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Important, very important, especially with today's gender identity landscape. It's very
yeah,
important to make this difference. So I normally explain this the following way. We have three levels of reality. The first one is purely biological. You have a male body, I have a female body. You have male hormones, I have female hormones. This is very important to understand and address. Your system has a rhythm and my system has a different rhythm. And female systems are cyclical. We have cycles throughout our lives. We have cycles throughout the month. My brain, it's not performing the same way the 4 weeks a month. It's brilliant in all its expressions, but it's different. And so females need to understand their biology and they need to work with their biology and not against it. This is extremely important. And we could do 7 podcasts on this in the effects of hormones that we are taking, contraceptives that we are taking, sleep deprivation, like all the things that affect our biology that are affecting our capacity to lead. And when I say lead, I don't just mean lead a company or lead a project. Lead your
Right.
family, lead yourself. It's very, very important. So I will just give a small tip here for all the ladies listening, all the female bodies listening to this podcast. Learn your biology and let your biology be the calendar.
Mm.
Don't bend over backwards to feed your biology in a calendar that has been designed from a patriarchal perspective. It's designed for a system that does not take care of anybody, let's just be honest, but definitely not of female bodies. You're
Mm.
not supposed to be performing and productive 100% the whole month. There is 2 weeks a month, your hormones are doing something different. There is 1 week a month that you are very, very, very powerful in the inside world, in the looking inward world, in the listening to intuition world. There is 2 weeks a month where you are powerful, your testosterone is on point, and you are like stronger than any man around you. And there is 1 week a month where you are extremely magnetic. If you learn your biology and you time your meetings around it and you time your performance around it, you have a big, big advantage. You just need to learn to use it. And unfortunately, we have been made victims of our biology rather than empowered in our biology.
Mm.
So this is for all female bodies, biology. Now we got to the next level would be gender identity. And in this
Mm.
level, you are who you choose to be and you conduct yourself in the way that you choose to. And you, in a way, we'll say you play the role that you choose to play. Just make sure that you are choosing the role that you want in and then you are understanding the role that you're wanting to play. I have nothing else to say here. By the way, a lot of the constructs that we have built around gender, for me, are extremely outdated. We can throw
Mm.
them out. When you say you're very maternal, of course, I actually think that the role models we have of what a father was before now are actually very unnatural because for me, a father is the most loving, protecting, providing figure. So absolutely, I will even question when you say you are maternal. It's actually you are paternal, but the healthy
Yeah.
paternal, and
Right.
not the toxic paternal that we all got taught.
Yeah.
Now, if
Yeah.
we get out of the physical world, out of the biology and the gender identity, and we go into energetics, there is when we talk about feminine and masculine polarity. And the problem with English is that feminine and masculine are very close to female and male, and men and women get on the picture. And now we get all confused. So I like to take it out and use the Chinese approach, the Taoist approach, which is the yin and yang. We all agree there is yin and yang, day and night, yes and no, positive pole, negative pole. The feminine traditionally, what we understand as the feminine is the yin energy, is the moon energy, is the energy of creation, is the energy of the earth, is that if we are looking at it from the perspective of physical matter, is the round, is the womb, is the dark, is where life begins. The masculine pole is the yang. It's the bright, is the direction, is the white in the circle of in the shape of the yang, the yin yang, is the goal-oriented energy, is the phallic shape, is the direction. Now, they're both needed in order for existence to happen. And they both live within us. So we have our masculine and our energy within us. It's your masculine energy that gets you to go and work and provide for your 4 daughters, your 2 sons, and your wife. But it's also your wife's masculine energy that gets her to go and work and provide and protect for her kids and for your son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's your feminine pole that comes back home and nurtures your kids and tucks them to bed. And is your wife's feminine energy that gets to stay with the kids and nourish them. So yes, these energies have their expression in the gender roles, and they have their expression in biology. And I like to take the most basic one, which is the geometrical shape, because the world around us is all geometry, right? So if we take the feminine, is the circle. The cycle of the feminine nature with her hormones, the cycle of nature with her seasons is cyclical, is round too. But so is our female body, so is our womb, so is the egg. The masculine energy is directional. The shape of the masculine energy would be an arrow. And so is the male biology. So there is where you can see that the energetics from like the top, if we will go a top down, the energetics get to be grounded in the roles of gender, and they get to be embodied in the biology. But ultimately, we all have within ourselves the X and the Y chromosome.
Hmm. Hmm.
Does this make a more clear map?
Yeah, I think that's a helpful distinction, right? Because like you said, I think people sometimes get lost in the different layers of all of this, and that can, yeah, it can cause us to just get confused and conflate a lot of different things, and then we talk past each other, and yeah, we can just get confused. And so, as we talk more about, female empowerment and women leadership in business, in our remaining time, I think it's just helpful for any women in the audience, for any men in the audience to just understand, where we're coming from. And certainly, hopefully, women can take something away from this, but men as well, like men as allies to women, to empower them, to help women to lean into, you know, their innate, abilities to be, great in their own unique ways in business and the workplace.
And not only that, John, I have a lot of male clients that want to bring feminine leadership into their companies.
Yeah.
Because uh, I could go on and on about this, but a very, very clear example that we're all becoming aware of with the current reality, with the huge epidemic of mental health that we have, is that we have for way too long ignored the world of emotion, suppress it, deny it, not understand it, and not have any ability to deal with it. And what is turning around is one of the highest cost in a company to deal with the result of poor mental health, poor conflict resolution, poor coherence and collaboration in teams. This is feminine leadership. Now I'm sitting across CEOs and founders, male CEOs and founders that are like, okay, Layla, teach me about emotions. So I understand how I can bring understanding of emotions into my team, into my company, and cut a huge cost that I am paying for the fact that we cut the heart out of the equation. We cut the feelings out of the equation. And
Hmm.
that is what we traditionally have associated with the feminine, right? Another important piece of feminine leadership is moving from goal-oriented to process-oriented, right? When a company is just goal-oriented and we are running over people and running over systems, we end up having the horrendous impact that we're having, for example, in the planet. Where if we bring a feminine leadership approach, and maybe I need to start changing the word feminine for an integrated approach, so it doesn't sound so much about women. But one of the most important pieces is, are you thinking about the next 7 generations when you are making decisions in your company? Is this goal orientation not allowing you to see the impact of the processes that you're having? And so I sit across male founders and leaders and CEOs and executives that are wanting to understand, how can I shift from a purely goal-oriented thinking process to a process-oriented process? How can I have more awareness of the impact of my narrow, productive, hyper masculine mind, and open into a more inclusive, more cyclical, more respectful way. And this is not to say that the masculine is wrong at all. Once again, we need both in alignment. Masculinity only gets toxic when it's disbalanced. Same with feminine energy, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Super well said. Um, and I think like the pandemic really highlighted this. It was a really great time to highlight these feminine aspects and characteristics of leadership. And there were some really great female leaders that were highlighted at the time, like the Prime Minister of New Zealand, got a lot of press at the time for just her great leadership of the country at the time. And there were others as well. And it wasn't just a pandemic thing, but that was, the opportunity to highlight, right? Because some leader, any time of crisis is a time where leadership is either, highlighted for good or for bad. And it was just an opportunity to show that like these feminine characteristics in leadership were just so important. And because of all the volatility, because of just the constant change and disruption that organizations are facing now, it's more important than ever that we have these characteristics embedded within our organizations and across our leaders, whether they are actually females or males, right? So just so important. Well, Lila, this has just been a great conversation. I know we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to discuss here, but I also note the time. I need to let you go. Before we wrap things up, I wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your team, and then give us a final word for today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk about this with you. As you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about this work. And since I've been doing this work for over 15 years, if you type my full name on Google, everything that comes up is me. You can
Hmm.
find me on social media, you can find me on my website. There is a beautiful community that I have created called Creatrix. This one is specifically just for women, for females. And we have a business mastermind every year where women come and build their businesses from their talent, their experience, their ideas, and learn to have impact and create abundance while leading with their feminine energy. But yeah, the best way to connect with me is social media, my website. You can find me on YouTube as well. And just reach out, send a message. I have an amazing team that knows how to put me in contact with the right people. And my final word for everybody listening is that we live in a world that is the result of thousands of years of a very specific conditioning and programming.
Hmm.
And among other things, this conditioning has specifically engineered our connection with the feminine out of the picture. It's disconnected us from our mother, our mothers, the Mother Earth, and our own inner feminine, both for male and female. Because once we are disconnected from the heart, we're very easy to manipulate. And one of the reasons why the pandemic brought this back is because when we all went into lockdown, we went into the feminine, we went into
Hmm.
pause, silence, reflection, darkness. Very, very important. We stopped that go, 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 go hyper masculine, and we had a moment to take a breath. So, my final word for all of us is let us take a breath. Let us reconnect with the feminine aspect within ourselves. Let us go into the yin energy as opposed to the constant yang energy. Because the key to the next level of our power lives there. Once we reconnect with the feminine, when we reconnect with the yin energy, the whole picture is going to come alive and we're going to quantum leap individually and collectively.
Love it. Beautiful. Lila, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Lila can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.